Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and I'm stuck in New York City for the week working, and, and I don't love it. I don't love it at all. I lived here for 15 years. Got kind of weird during the pandemic. I left, bought a little hobby farm, and gotta be upfront with you. I don't like coming back. I don't care for it. Turns out I'm in a different place in my life, right? Anyways, on this channel, we generally answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answer they need from an employment attorney. We're not doing that today. And if I'm going to be honest, it's because I'm phoning it in. I don't want to do the work to answer a question today, so I'm going to tell you a story because I had a bad experience here in New York City, and I'm salty about it. All right, so here's what we're dealing with. You may be aware, New York City's, it's not San Francisco, but it's, when we're talking about Manhattan specifically, it's not going fantastic right now. There's a lot of people who have left. There's a lot more people who are leaving. I'll post a video down below about all the new college grads who are moving out of New York. Massive exodus from New York City. Generally, the work from home revolution kind of wiped the city out. I mean, why would you live here if you don't have to live here? The tax savings for living somewhere else can actually pay for your home, right? The tax savings can be larger than the mortgage on a palatial home elsewhere in the country that costs less than a two-bedroom apartment in Queens, in New York City, right? So, there's a lot of reasons why people are moving out. If you don't have to be in New York City, many people don't want to be in New York City. And in the midst of all that, there's been some homelessness issues. There's been a lot of homeless encampments, and there's a lot of, there's always been a lot of open drug use in New York. Listen, it's not uncommon to see somebody shooting up, on a little cardboard mattress on the sidewalk. That's very common. We don't really have services here there's departments that help homeless people, but they don't help homeless people. They don't really have shelters. The shelters are not run very well. The shelters are super dangerous. So many of the homeless people don't want to use the shelters. It's a tough place to not have money. New York, right? There's not much of a social safety net here. We're really big on letting people starve and suffer, and that's how New York City rolls to some extent, in spite of the tax burden, right? So there's a lot of homelessness going on, and the rat problem has really burgeoned. It's become a bit of a pandemic all of its own. And listen, New York City's always had an issue with rats because one, Manhattan is kind of listen, the waters are rising. This city is gonna be underwater, and parts of it kind of already are, right? So there's a lot of rats just because of that. And then New York City, the way it's built, it was planned. Parts of it were planned. But it wasn't planned with modern sanitation in mind. So, there's no alleyways to put dumpsters in to, control garbage. If you have a restaurant in New York or even just an apartment building, you, on your garbage day, will throw out 40, 60, 80, 100 bags of garbage just on the sidewalk. You create a giant mound, a giant pyramid of garbage bags on the sidewalk, and then a truck comes by during peak traffic, rush hours. Not always. Sometimes they come by before or after, but often it seems like they're going right through rush hour and picks up the bags off the street. But what you'll get is that restaurants will throw the garbage out early, and they'll get fined for it sometimes they won't. So you get just bags of garbage sitting on the street for days. And if they're not sitting on the street, they're sitting in a basement, because where does the restaurant put its garbage without an alleyway with dumpsters in it? It can't put it in dumpsters, which might control rat populations because rats can't get in the dumpster. No, it just throws them in a basement of a building or some other holding place. So you get these massive rat populations. And listen, they're in the subways too. It's, you can always kind of tell somebody who's not really a New Yorker because they're wearing it used to be they'd look at the buildings. Ooh, the buildings. They'd be looking up. That's not anymore. They're wearing open toe sandals. That's a real good way to get yourself nipped or just your foot run over by a rat. It's not a pleasant experience. It's really, really common. I think you could make an argument. Some people I know won't wear like short socks in New York anymore. I think that's extreme. I do wear short socks, but only sneakers, boots, shoes, something that could actually ward off like a rat nip. It is kind of like a thing in New York these days, and because what's that rat carrying, right? Like rats have been at the core of many of the great pandemics of human history, right? Rats are delightfully close to our own biology and really, really good at conveying disease to us, often through the fleas they house in numbers. Which brings me to my story. I went out and about to have a nice meal, and went to a not cheap restaurant in the middle of the city, Midtown Manhattan. Nice place. Actually, I mean, expensive place. Let's just say not that nice. Food wasn't that great. It's also very common in New York City right now because New York City employers kind of chased a lot of the service industry, a lot of the kitchen staff. A lot of these people have exited New York, or there's just not enough people. There's not enough cooks, chefs, service people. There's not enough restaurant workers in general. It's very hard to find staffing for bars and restaurants right now. So you're getting a lot of like line cooks that aren't line cooks. So you'll go to a nice restaurant. You'll spend a couple $100s for your meal, and you'll get I had myself some soupy curry. Yeah, just a bowl of soupy like wet curry, which managed to be disgusting but also unhealthy at the same time. Generally, if you're adding salt, fat, sugar to a dish, you would at least get something tasty, but that was not the case. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to mention the restaurant. I'm not here to shit on the restaurant. So I sit down, have myself a drink, everybody's chatting, we're having fun. It's great, right? Nice day out, it's 85, I'm wearing shorts. And, my leg starts to itch. My legs are itching. Somebody else is like, oh, my legs are itchy. And then we all kind of as one look under the table. Yeah, cool. We're just covered in fleas. Just, our legs are covered in fleas. Just covered. Like, I was there for less than 10 minutes, and I had 30 flea bites on my legs. Nice restaurant. Like literally, like, expensive restaurant, right? We leap up. Restaurant staff shuffles over. We're slapping, panicking, trying to get fleas off of us. Restaurant staff runs over and they're like, oh, it's those damn homeless. The police won't keep the homeless from sleeping in our restaurant at night, and that's why we have fleas. And I'm like, well, for starters, it sounds like you knew about this. Sounds like you were well aware that you have a flea problem, and you sat us here anyways. Which upsets me a lot. But a little bit of time passed, and it occurred to me, I was like, well, what the hell do you mean it's the homeless people? How do you know that? Rats are running around the sidewalk nonstop. You got a pile of trash about as tall as me over there, full of food, and those trash bags rats can very easily chew into. What makes you think it's the homeless people shooting up and not the rats? Right? And the restaurant looks at me like, oh, we don't have a rat problem. We have a good sanitation rating. My friend, you can see the rats. They are in your kitchen. We know they're in your kitchen. But okay, for sake of argument, they're not in your kitchen. Like, that's fine. I'm not saying you're running an unclean shop. I'm saying you sat me on the street where you know there's a flea problem, and you're just claiming it's the homeless because you want to blame the mayor. I mean, I guess you can blame the mayor for the rats. I don't really know. I don't really know what they're going to do about the rats. They hired a new rat czar. That hasn't gone well. I think the new rat czar replaced the mayor's brother. I don't think that went well either. This is all just best recollection. I'm not reporting the news here. Yeah. So, anyways, this is just story time. I'm just bitching about New York. It was a very unpleasant evening, and the unpleasantness stayed. But it's all been resolved now. It's all been resolved now. So yeah, this video was not helpful, but like, subscribe, comment down below anyways. And if you want to tell me what New York should do about its homeless, rat, and flea issues, I would love to hear some solutions. I will forward them to the mayor, so perhaps he might actually do something. So when I have to come here for work, I can be a little less miserable. Remember, everybody works, not everybody wins. Take care, everybody.